You can start now, Bharti.
Namaste. Welcome to day 2, and thank you for being here. Thanks for moving towards $100 billion collaborative bilateral trade in textiles between our two nations. The Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, the IACC Textile Forum, is mandated to reach this trade between the US and India. It promotes the buying and selling of US and Indian goods and services across the entire textile supply chain. With an active panel of experts, all services are free. Please sign up at the IACC Textile database. We are a part of one long supply chain where the output of one becomes the input for the other, from machines to yarns to dyes, chemicals, fabrics, garments, accessories to made-ups, and the multitude of technical and non-technical fabrics. India has it all. Nations don't compete on products and services alone. They compete on supply chains. Nations do business with each other when both nations are treated equal and both are benefited. Through all our efforts, we must ensure India wins, US wins. Through day 1, we learned what we can buy from and sell to the United States. Today, on day 2, this continues with sports textiles, organic textiles, yarns, technical textiles, home textiles, and India's ability for bilateral trade. Tomorrow, on day 3, for our enterprising ones, we will learn how we can start up a business in the United States itself so that it classifies as made in the US and we can bid for US Defense Department contracts. To our American family, I address this. Doing business with India and the US is easier than with many other countries. We all have 10 years multiple entry visas. We can show up in 24 hours anywhere in the United States faster than DHL, UPS, and FedEx can deliver. We have a common language, a common sense of business, and strong belief in ethics, transparency, and compliance. We have the same common urge to do business with each other democratically without fear and compulsion. To our American family, I must add this. For Indians, a small transaction leads to a lasting relationship. Indians are eager to please, eager to learn, and eager to adapt as you diversify your global sourcing. Now, to our Indian textile family. Many US-related textile businesses are small, usually less than 100 employees. Small enough where you can meet the CEO and the founders. And they are as passionate about their industry just as we are here in India. Small in size, they do serious volumes. Please visit us at the IACC Textile Forum and sign up your company at the free IACC Textile database. It helps you to be matched to the US and India needs. Yes, it's free. Thank you, our partners, Sutlej Industries, Wellspun, Colorant, Indocount, and our media partners, the Yarn Bazaar, Textile Excellence, Textile Mirror, Textile Value Chain, and the PhD Chamber of Commerce. We are live on YouTube and live on Zoom. Have a question? Write to us at the Textile Forum at iaccindia.com and the Zoom chat. Gentlemen and ladies, let's get started towards $100 billion bilateral collaborative trade in the US between India and the United States. May I please welcome Mr. Mayakar to be the moderator for panel 1. With fabrics in place and specialty textiles and all the panels on day 1, we now move to the next logical area of fabrics that is of most interest to both our nations, the US and India, having won many medals in Tokyo Olympics and the Paralympics, sports textiles. Please welcome Mr. Avinash Mayekar with 33 years of experience and the CEO of Suvin Advisors. Mr. Mayekar, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Eden. It is a great pleasure to be associated with IACC. Welcome you all for the Sports Textile Forum. I am moderating the session on sports textile and bilateral trade. When it is sports textiles, it is a very near and dear subject to me. Right from childhood, I used to get involved in various sports activities. And when I became textile engineer, I started understanding the correlation in between textiles and sports. For example, a cricket bat needs to be strengthened with a mesh, which is a technical textile product. So likewise, there are many technical textile products which would be in use as far as sports textiles are concerned. Coming to bilateral trade, as all of us are aware, just now Mr. Haren has informed us that we have won medals. I think our medal tally of Olympic plus Paralympic is almost 20, and that of USA is 200. So we can see the magnitude by which US is ahead of us. So, but still, there is a lot of interest, inherent qualities and parameters by which we have come together. We have come together in various forums, international forums. We know that we can help each other, though our qualities are different, our specialties are different. And likewise, technical textile and sport textile, these dear things are also collaborating with each other, though to our not to our merit, but still we have to do a long way as far as sports textiles are concerned. Looking at our population and looking at the magnitude and scale and our capabilities which are available with us, we have to do quite a lot. Coming to USA, I visit USA many times, especially every 3 years, in order to go to INDA, the IDEA conference, so that I can learn quite a lot. So it is, you can say, a Makkah of the knowledge, which is available in the US. At various forums, you can understand and learn so many things. Similarly, I thank to Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, IACC, a dear organization which has started quite a lot a few years back, and they have done quite a lot as far as collaboration and collaborative approaches are concerned. Thanks to Mr. Kotak to spearhead this particular organization. And I should not miss to say that late Arvind Sinha, who was my dear friend, and always he has taken a lot of initiatives to do things, and he has painted a big picture of India-USA collaboration. And I'm sure that this will help us in going ahead and giving homage to him, who have just passed away last year. Coming to our topic, as far as sports textile is concerned, I am lucky to have eminent speakers. I would say both are the opening batsmen, having their own inherent skills in the field of sports textiles. Mr. Rajkumar Agarwal, who is MD of SVG Fashions, who has done extensively well in doing the brand building for his own company, coming out with various products and getting sanctioned those products with eminent brands. And he has almost 38 years of experience, and he has spearheaded his company to a next level. Similarly, I have Mr. Mukul Verma, who is director of Savvy International, who has done extensively well in exporting sports textiles, especially rugby balls. He is the largest exporter of rugby balls from India. And against the various odds, he has his own company himself to a next level. And that's why I would be happy to get associate both of them. I request Mr. Rajkumar Agarwal to express himself and about his company in 60 seconds. Mr. Rajkumar Agarwal, please.
A very good morning to viewers in America and a very good evening to the viewers in India. I thank the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce for this opportunity. I am Rajkumar Agarwal, the Managing Director at SVG Fashions Limited. We have established in 1984 and we are a vertically integrated textile manufacturer. Our manufacturing facilities start with the manufacturing of polyester yarn, then weaving, circular knitting, warp knitting, flat knitting, dyeing and printing of these fabrics, and also ready-made garments. We are an Ecotech certified company for use of non-hazardous chemicals. We are also certified by Control Union for use of recycled polyester. We are committed to a sustainable tomorrow and therefore have a state-of-the-art effluent treatment plant which recycles more than 80% of the water that we use. We are proud to be associated with various brands, international brands within the country. Among them, sportswear brands like Adidas and Reebok, we have been associated for the last 14 years. Thank you for the opportunity once again.
Thank you, Mr. Rajkumar. I request now Mr. Mukul Verma to say a few words in 60 seconds, please.
Thank you so much, Avinash. And first of all, a big thanks to all the people at Indo-American Chamber of Commerce for giving me this wonderful opportunity to say a few words. It fills my heart with warmth and joy unspeakable, as I've been given this wonderful opportunity to talk to the people in America as well as in India. I would like to say that the company Savi International was established by my worthy father in the year 1978, and he began exporting sports goods in the year 1981. In the year 1983, he started making rugby balls for the world's largest brand called Gilbert. And since then, we have been making rugby balls. And when I joined the company in the year 2004, after completing my post-graduation from UK, it was my passion to make garments, sports garments, because at that time my father was only focusing on one segment of the business. So when I joined, I started making rugby shirts, rugby shorts, football clothing, and many other types of clothing in sportswear. And by the grace of God, I can say within a span of last 20 years, we are the largest exporter of inflatable balls from India and one of the leading in the sportswear. And recently, in the recent Olympics, the rugby balls have been supplied by us. In the Rugby World Cup 2015 and 19, the balls were supplied by us. In the Commonwealth Games, we are the official suppliers of those balls. And our primary focus is to satisfy the needs of our customers, to the full satisfaction we can. And we are one of the largest plants in India for making sports goods, and it's one of the most ultra-modern plants also. So with this, I close my opening remarks. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's excellent. Excellent, Mr. Mukul. Now, viewers, we have 3 S's. It is not S alphabet, but it is ASE. But it is coming from S, that is Suvin, Savvy, and SVG. 3 companies are deliberating now on sports textiles. So I'm very lucky to have these 2 eminent speakers. So now let's play. Let's play the game of asking questions and getting answers which can benefit both the countries. Thank you very much. So my first question to you, Mr. Rajkumar. What are the top 3 sports textile products which you feel US companies can source from India?
Thanks, Avinash. India, as we all know, is a cotton-rich country. It is known traditionally for sourcing of cotton textiles and garments. However, India also is one of the largest producers of polyester. Yet the image of being a cotton producer has stuck. Therefore, our exports of polyester, which is the primary fiber for sports textiles, are very nominal to the US. Now, this also is a great opportunity for us because the base is so small that we pretty much have a highway of growth. Now, India has a large domestic market. For the domestic market, India is producing pretty much all kinds of sports textiles and garments. Many of the international brands are already present in India, and they are sold from India for India. So the capability is there. So rather than specifying what are the articles we would like to export to America, I would like to specify what we are not yet able to do. And what is that? It is fabrics and garments with more than 20, 25 or 30% spandex content. These are used for compression garments. These are used for swimwear and many other specific end uses. This is the area which we are lacking. Other than this, pretty much everything we are able to make. We are able to make recycled polyester fabrics. We are able to make melange fabrics. We are able to make mesh jacquard fabrics. We are able to make spacer fabrics. We are able to shoe garments. Pretty much all kinds of apparel and textiles for sportswear we are able to do. Therefore, rather than 3 articles, we want the world. We want everything to do everything. And whatever we are lacking, we would rather have collaborate with, say, US itself. I mean, for the high spandex fabrics and garments, I know US has companies which have the technology. We can collaborate with them, get the technology to India, then export the fabric and the garments to the US. So that is the opportunity I see. Thank you.
Great. Mr. Mukul, what is your take on these top 3 sports textile products? What you would suggest?
Absolutely. My views actually are very much same as Mr. Agarwal has said. I think US is an ocean of opportunities, what I feel. I was reading the figures 2 days back because I had to speak on the seminar, so I thought I should brush up my analytical skills.
Yeah, of course.
The market
Of course.
itself, I believe the US friends know better. It's around $50 billion at the moment in the year 2020. Though it was a corona year, but still the sales were quite high, because people tend to go after the fitness levels they have at their homes, because everybody wants to stay fit and they want to maintain their immunity levels. So and down the line 5 years from now, the figures are mind boggling. It's going to be around, the US market alone is going to be around 100 billion dollars. And the global market is worth going to be, according to Bloomberg, $544 billion. US itself is the largest market. Southeast Asia is the fastest growing market, I can say. So everything in India can be done, especially, in polyesters and cottons, in plated fabrics, in polycotton blends, in the woven fabrics also, from the water repellency to the fire retardants and high visibility and other sort of things can be made in India. The only thing is we need to little bit gear up for the articles which Mr. Agarwal has also said that high spandex qualities are still lacking in India. Some of them are called also nylon also is still, I think I can see, in the early stages. So if we have those sort of things in India, I think the market is going to be of tremendous size. This is my take on this.
Yeah, great. Now tell me, as we are on the same page, what are the three products which are in demand in US, but India is yet not explored those products? Can you just guide on that?
Is it for me or Mr. Agarwal?
Yeah, it is for you. It is for you.
Yeah, like I said, India is yet to gear up on the nylon side of the things, and especially on some of the finishings which other countries offer, like Vietnam or Taiwan. Taiwan is the hub of technical textiles. They are making huge quantities of sports textiles. Though India is coming up to the level, but still I can say there's a long journey to travel before we reach that level. The R&D has to be there. In those compression wears, in those technical textiles which are performance oriented, in the sports category, in which, I mean, just giving you an example, we are working on something in which you can measure the bacterial level in a shirt. We are working on a thread. If underarm you are sweating, your pH level is high, the bacterial content is high, the color will change drastically. So you know that the shirt is going to be washed after so many washes or so many days. Similarly, we are working on sensory threads, which can be used on the gloves. Supposedly somebody is going to do cycling in the winters and they don't want to remove the glove to operate their phone screen. So sensory thread, you can use that phone without using your glove. So these are the items we are working at a niche level. So I believe if we can have those sort of finishes, those sort of technical textiles into India through joint ventures, collaborations, India can be a game changer in the days to come.
Of course. In fact, as you mentioned about Taiwan, it is almost 50% higher in export than us. And next question to Mr. Mukoli, of utility testing products. We can get some equipment from US markets. Now, as you are already exporting to them, you might be knowing that whether there is any potential market for the digital systems or testing equipment from US to India.
Yeah, I think some of the companies which are making the testing equipments for the labs and also on the shop floor, we can import from them, and also some sort of technologies in the digital printing. I can say we can source from the US to have better printing qualities on the garments or on the fabrics that we do. So it can be a bilateral trade we can have from them. We can have technical know-how, R&D from them, so that we are able to make all those sort of things which they are looking for, which are trying to get from other countries. We can offer them, and because we have a huge potential, huge labor force. I mean, textile is the second largest employment generation sector of India. So India has got lots of positive things in the days to come on this.
That's right. Mr. Rajkumar, as you have established yourself in a big way as far as sports textiles are concerned, what do you think are merits of India or other countries? How we can excel in this particular field?
So sourcing from India has manifold advantages. Now, the key advantage is India's self-sufficiency. You see, for sports textiles, polyester is the primary raw material. Now, India starts from the refinery stage. We refine crude oil to produce the raw materials for polyester. Then we manufacture the polyester yarn. We manufacture the polyester fabrics and also the garments. So complete value chain is within India. We are not dependent on anybody. We produce our own spandex yarns. We produce our own dyes and chemicals. So pretty much everything is within the country. So this is the biggest advantage at the macro stage for anybody sourcing from India, sports textiles or other type of textiles. At the micro level,
Please carry on.
So at the micro level, India has a huge talent pool. We have a huge pool of skilled tailors, engineers, scientists, and innovators, all very eager to do what the buyer wants, creating new products, innovative products, products on time, products, whatever the buyer wants. Their nuances we are able to understand and cater to. Secondly, India, as we know, is a huge country. We have garment factories spread across the length and breadth of the country. Factories of all sizes. We have factories with 25 tailors and we have factories with 2,500 tailers. Now, that gives us the advantage of being able to cater to all sizes of orders. So all kinds of buyers we are able to cater to. So small orders, large orders, pretty much everything we will be able to cater to. That is another advantage of sourcing from India.
That's great. Mukul, you would like to add something?
Yeah, absolutely. As Mr. Agarwal has said, India has huge potential, which we can all explore to the optimum level to come up to that level of exports. What also, it's a dream of our Honorable Prime Minister to reach $400 billion for this financial year. So I think textile is one of the main exports from India to the various parts of the world. And it's going to be one of the backbones of exports for India, I can say. So I think if we can work more closely, we can understand our demands, and the ultimate thing is we have to keep our buyers happy. Whether it's any country, anywhere in the world, your buyer is happy. He's going to be sticking with you for a long period of time, and he's going to give you all the business we can get. So I think committing to the orders on time, giving the right deliveries, giving the right sort of prices, will be spot on with US. And also, just for the sportswear, I would like to say that many factories over here in north of India, we are offering a lead time of 3 weeks for the team wear items, which the players wear, like a basketball shirt or something. So 3 weeks lead time is given. We can be also there. That can also help us to get the small orders as well as the large orders from the US.
These 3 weeks you are saying from India to US?
Absolutely. Right from the receipt of the order, after 21 days, order is sent out from here.
Great. That's really great. Now tell me one thing, that what steps Indian companies should take, Mr. Mukul, this is for you, to increase business with US, as you are already doing the business. What steps or what advice you can give to Indian companies?
I think ultimately we have to listen to our buyers, what they say, what they demand. If we can replicate what they want, and if we can give it on time, right sort of quality, right sort of price, and meet with their deadlines, the customer will be more than willing to come to India. The only time the customer wants to change is when we create some issues to the customer. Otherwise, nothing is the issue, I believe. It's an ocean full of opportunities, I can say. So I think we have to get a hand on that. This is my take on that.
Yeah, Mukul. But sampling, does it take quite a lot of time, and is it difficult to do?
Sometimes when the buyer sends us a sample from which is made in Vietnam or made in Sri Lanka or made in China or made in Taiwan, so if those fabrics are not available over here in India, I'll be very open and honest with you. I mean, sometimes it's a challenge to find those sort of fabrics, but if the fabric is available, we can turn around the samples within 7 to 10 days of lead time maximum, and the customer can receive it. But if the fabric is not there, then our hands are also tied. I mean, if the tailor is of the best level, but without the right sort of fabric, I think it'll be a little bit of challenge to make up those sort of garments.
Okay. Mr. Rajkumar, is it difficult to get or yes types of nominations in India for sports textile?
Avinash, I missed the question. Could you repeat, please?
Yeah. I was just whether it's difficult or to meet all the norms. You mentioned about ETP, that you are already having a certified ETP system. Likewise, is it difficult to have other norms also for sports textiles?
No, I mean, it doesn't matter whether it is difficult or not. So we have to meet the buyer's requirements. I believe in that.
That's true.
So I mean, sustainability is, it is the only way you can survive. You have to be conscious about being sustainable. So I mean, effluent treatment or all these things they are given. They are not an option anymore.
Okay. Now, is it difficult for people who are already into sports textiles manufacturing to reach to US market?
It is difficult in the sense, okay, US is far away. You need to have the approach. Basically, when I think of approaching a buyer, my thought process is always of being a solution provider rather than being a supplier of goods and services. I don't say I make this or that. I say I listen to the buyer. Perfect. I will say, what do you want? What is your problem? So you have listened to your buyer. What is it that he needs? And you listen to him patiently and do really what he wants. That's all the buyer wants. Nothing more.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what are the technical textiles. They are functional textiles. They are engineered products. And along with us, we have Mr. Mohan Kavri, who has taught me that how it is important to give what is required by the customer. So we are really having a great time over here. I would just like to have a last question to both of you. How to enhance technology? Is it difficult, or you can adapt to technology which is required by the US market?
Enhancing technology is a matter of attitude. So we are evolving every day and we are learning from others who are ahead of us. So first of all, you have to accept that there is something more to learn. And then you take the right inspiration and the enhancing will happen automatically.
Great. Mr. Mukul, your take on this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the right sort of mindset we need to have. If we want to change, if we want to see the change, we have to begin with ourselves first. So I think it's all in the mind of a person, whether he wants to, like you earlier asked that whether you have an ETP or not. I think ETP is in the DNA now. It's not an option.
That's
it's
true,
in the
that's
DNA.
true. Yeah, yeah.
And one thing more I would like to say, that we are not only responsible to the buyers in the US, we are responsible to our workers, our families, our society whom we serve over here. If we keep on, discharging the, bad water into the rivers or wherever, and they keep on
That will
drinking,
not be allowed.
so
Will
that is
be
not
allowed. Yeah,
ethical
right.
even. That is beyond ethics.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I can never ever think of that. And secondly, that as you said that regarding your take on the aptitude, I think it depends upon human being to human being, person to person. We have seen companies growing from zero to hero within a span of 10 years. They're having turnovers of millions of dollars because they have that sort of mindset.
Right.
So
Perfect. Now
that.
one more question to you, Mukul. Is that if at all I give you option of having JV with an American company and put up a plant in America because they are giving a lot of benefits over there, or to have a brand and then get collaborated with them and then partner with them?
I think it can work both ways. We don't mind having JVs in the US. I mean, I used to have my own office in Canada a few years back. So we have been running it for 10 years. And I think it's a great idea. Business has to grow on this earth only. Countries are no boundaries right now, what I feel. This distance doesn't matter. Communication doesn't matter. And I would just like to say that, to achieve something in life, we have to live one idea, think one idea, breathe one idea, sleep that idea. And let that idea be pour on a body, and let that idea be our aim of the life. This is what I feel.
Perfect. Mr. Rajkumar, what is your take on this? Collaboration with American company in USA, or having a brand and then getting collaborated with them in India?
So there is a lot that we can collaborate with the America. They have a lot of technology which we need. Technology, as I explained, for high spandex garments and fabrics. Technology for making membranes, RO membranes, nano membranes, UF membranes. Now these are pretty much very, very essential for technology for making biodegradable polyester, for example. Technology for making more of recycled polyester, recycling PET bottles into polyester. These are the things we need to collaborate on. These are the things we need to invest on for the future.
Perfect. Thank you very much to both the panelists. I think we have taken care of, because of the shortage of time, I will just summarize. We need to know that India and US are having very good understanding with each other. We are participating at international level and having very good understanding with each other's strengths as well as weaknesses, and both the markets can explore. They can take advantage of our population, and we can take advantage of their technological advancement, what they have, the way they are engineering products. We can get that technical know-how as well. And we are having many other many other forums like UN, ASEAN, IMF, World Bank, WTO, and many more. We are getting associated with them. Almost 3.1 million NRIs are staying there in US, and there are many FDIs are going to happen. Very recently, almost US dollar 2.7 billion investment has happened from Amazon India, and likewise we are expecting quite a lot to happen. We have set the tone, and I'm sure that many more businessmen will come from both the countries to have collaborative approach, and I'm sure that we will do quite a lot in textiles. Bravo India, let us collaborate for a much bigger partnership in between two countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Mr. Michael.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks indeed. Thank you for showing India's offerings, its readiness for sports fabrics, garments, and sporting goods. The next panel talks about organic, sustainable, transparency, and responsible manufacturing. India is uniquely positioned for the US needs. Please welcome Mr. D.R. Mehta, who has 30 years of experience as a managing director, NTC Limited, to moderate this panel. And before that, may I please request Mr. Satya, IACC, to introduce all the panelists.
Hello. Mr. Mehta, actually, this is about, we are supposed to do a small introductions for actually, this is basically for Dr. Mehta. I'll just little bit of Mr. Mehta and then I will I'll give up the floor to Mr. Mehta. Mr. Mehta has 54 years of experience in the textile industry. He was ex-CMD of NTC, Government of India, and also has remained as past president of TAI, Textile Association of India. He is currently the director of Pioneer Embroideries Limited from Hakoba. Mr. Mehta, over to you.
Yeah.
And
Thank
I would
you.
request a brief introduction about Mr. Patodia, Mr. MK Patodia, and other panelists also.
Thank you, Mr. Satnam, and thank you, IAC. It is my proud privilege that I am here with this session. And I have got the eminent panelists, or I should say celebrated panelists, like Mr. Ganesh Kasegar, Mr. R.S. Balaji, Mr. Manoj Kumar Patodia, Mr. Narayan Swami. I will request them that within 60 seconds, they should say it, what is their brief introduction and what they're making it and what are their products. Please, let us start with Mr. Ganesh Kasegar, please.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to all our participants and viewers who are attending our session over from India, and a very good morning to all the participants who are attending this session from America. And a big hello to all other participants who are over here on this platform to attend this very important session. I am representing the Global Organic Textile Standards. As the name states, it's GOTS. It is one of the world's preferred voluntary sustainability standard, which is being followed by now more than 10,400 entities on the global platform. It is one of the most preferred sustainable standard because it is the holistic approach based on the social, environmental, and ethical parameters. And India being one of the largest raw material sourcing company of organic cotton, and also the largest company in the largest segment of certified entities for the sustainability companies as per the GOTS standards. I think we from Indian perspective, and as far as the buyer's perspective we're concerned in the US market, this forum should be a very fruitful discussion whereby we can chip into more basic understandings about the GOTS sustainability standard and how the buyers and the citizens of the global in the globe can get benefit of this sustainability standard. Thank you.
Before I request Mr. Balaji, as I said it, we have got the celebrated panel. What do I say? One-liner. What others cannot see, they can see it. So this is the best panel we are having it. So they can see everything. Please, Mr. R.S. Balaji, please. Again, 60 seconds.
Okay. Good evening, India. Good morning, USA. I am Balagurunadan from Anandi Enterprises. We are into sustainable textile for the past 20 years, and we are the front runners in recycled cotton. 2012, we started recycled cotton, the brand name called Rika, recycled cotton from Anandi Enterprises. We are the proud supply chain partner for Levi's and Toad & Co, Prana, Patagonia, of all the US brands. So we had made this recycle into ring spun recycle with white fibers. That white fibers, blended with our organic cotton. Then we have supplied this yarn check shirts and other thing. Now we have partners from USA for Mercola through Ecofashions. We are implementing biodynamic organic with the Demeter certification. We are under the process of Demeter certification. India's first project in biodynamic with the Demeter certification. Proudly we can say that. They do this for USA, Mercola buyer through Ecofashions USA. So we are working in the recycled standard. I am in a steering committee member in GRS standard in Textile Exchange. And we are continuously working on the development of recycled product at commercial level. We are working for all the top retail brands, and we are working for closed loop systems, that is used garments again reproduce to the same buyer again, open it and make the yarn and give back again a garment to the brands. Now we are working for a project for a closed loop system. This will be a vital and more highly traceable, and garment people can also claim it's a highly sustainable thing. Thank you for the opportunity given for IAC. Thanks for saying.
Thank you. I now call our industrialist, Mr. Manoj Kumar Pataudia. Mr. Manoj Kumar Pataudia, please. Pataudia ji, just this one. I have worked with Mr. K.K. Pataudia for 15 years. He is my class fellow. So just wanted to tell you that yeah.
Nice to know that, Sir Samantha.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Good morning, USA. Today I'm wearing the hat of Texprocil. So on behalf of Cotton Textile Export Promotion Council, which is popularly known as Texprocil globally, I thank IACC Forum to give me this opportunity to speak today. As chairman of Texprocil, which is an apex textile body and the first export promotion council, which was set up in 1954 under the Ministry of Textiles, Government of India, it is responsible for the promotion of export of cotton textiles and blends thereof from India. The products that fall within the preview of textiles export baskets are cotton fibers, cotton yarns, fabrics, made-ups, home textiles. The Texprocil members, which are 2,500 members, are exporting around $12 billion, and many of our member exporters are also exporting organic yarn, organic products, BCI products, and in cotton and other cotton products. India's textile and clothing industry is one of the strong pillars of the national economy. The sector also contributes approximately 12% to the export earning of the country. India was the third largest exporter of textiles to the world after China and United States, exporting textile goods worth 17.42 billion from January to December 2020, with a share of 4.92% in the world trade. It is interesting to note that North America region, comprising of USA and Canada, had the highest level of import of cotton textiles from India, and with USA continuing to be a major export destination for export of cotton textiles from India. With this brief summary on the export business of yarn, fabrics, home textiles, I would conclude to saying that with the good trade relations between India and USA, we can look forward to synergies with textiles and clothing in the USA and grow the trade between the two countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pataudia. Now I request Mr. Mr. Narayan Swamy, please. Brief details. Mr. Narayan Swamy, please. Whether he is there? Satyaji?
Yes, he is there, but somehow his audio is not working.
Okay. So what do you advise?
Ask him to pull out his earphone.
Remove the headphone, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Narayan Swamy, could you remove the headphone?
Now it's okay?
Yeah, perfect,
Yes,
sir.
yes, it's perfectly fine.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, thank you. Armstrong Spinning Mills Private Limited, a textile conglomerate of Armstrong Knitting Mills, date back from 1969. We are almost getting to 51st year. Our managing director, E. Palanisamy, is leading the Tirupur Textile Association, vice president, and we are having all type of certification, GOTS, Fair Trade, and GRS, and OCS, and RCS, and all Ocotex and Higgindex. We are doing all certification, and we are in the renewable energy. We are in the renewable energy. 100% we are.
Again, wrong with the audio.
Bandwidth is a bit low.
54, yeah, 54 million bottles we've saved. Apart from that, we are doing for all export, and in USA, we are doing for 4 big brands, happiest baby and baby where we are doing it. We are in the 100% in the organic market only. So we are almost Loom State, one of the big brand in there, and we are doing for them also. And almost our aim is we have to give the sustainable production and sustainable product, and we have to ethical way, and we are everywhere we are concentrating on sustainable, and we have to reduce the carbon credit, and we have to follow the whatever the norms we are having in the ethical norms and God's standard and everything we are doing it. So this is the main thing. And apart from that, we are doing for fair trade premium. We have given so many 800 lakh rupees given for last 10 years to fair trade farmers also. So we are very proud to be in the farm, and we are continuously we are doing for our sustainable product. Thank you very much for your opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. Before I start the standard question from all the panelists, I just want to get one clearance that how to judge this is the organic textile or organic yarn for a layman. I think all the four panelists can send their views immediately. How to judge whether this is organic textile for a layman, I am talking, not for the test and all those things.
Only GMO test will give the organic.
May I answer this?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, basically, GOTS is like a processing standard. Like we cover the operations.
No, sir, I'm asking a layman. I'm a layman. I go in the shop.
I'm coming to the same point. It is you have Mr. Narayan Swami is an expert with because he's been in this industry from past so many years. We have for the organic traceability, we have a traceability system in its place, whereby by doing the QR code scanning, you can have a complete traceability, which is a proof. And while doing the business transactions, there are certificates issued during each and every business transaction, which is called a transaction certificate. A valid transaction certificate is a proof that whatever goods you are sourcing is organic by nature.
Good, very good. I think my other friend, Mr. Patodia ji, if they want to add anything on this.
No, really, actually, for a layman, it is as already Mr. Ganesh said that is the only way of with that certification, because otherwise, because we have to always rely on GOTS who can certify that cotton. And there is a process. Suresh Uncle is also here, but this there's a process behind it, because to grow organic cotton there is a complete process. So and that is what Mr. Ganesh and his team are always looking at that. Otherwise, you can't get certified. So that is one of the main reasons for that.
Sir, supposing I go to a retail shop, I want to have an organic shirt. How I will judge it?
Only by label. Label, GOTS label. If it is GOTS standard, ICS label, ICS standard. If it is GRS mixed with organic, you can see the GRS label, OCS standard. Because the people are searching for only for the standard. Because how we are manufacturing, we need GOTS standard, we are manufacturing GOTS yarn. We need, buyer need OCS standard, then they are taking the OCS yarn. That is the customer requirement.
Okay.
Basically, the traceability lies on the tags.
Yeah.
When you are taking a garment, there will be some tags. The tag tells the story about where it is produced, how it is produced, and the tag resembles all the certifications intact.
So then, whether this organic cotton fabric or yarn becomes eco-friendly? Any of the four panelists, please.
Yes, sir. Because if you look at the GOTS version 6.0 or any of the GOTS, the processing method, you can very well come to know that it is a very strict and a very stringently followed methodology, and adapted and accepted by on the global front. The numbers of 10,000, close to 10,400 certified entities on the global platform itself is a testimonial for a great success story, that why this is a preferred and accepted sustainability standard as far as the organic certification is concerned. And one more point over here, it is also one of an approved program as per the USDA. It is recognized by the USDA in the US market, And also one of the organization known as Organic Trade Association is also one of the founder member behind the brains behind the GOTS. So the trust is there, the value is there, and people are accepting, and the industry is accepting. I think this is the only the great success story what GOTS has laid as far as the organic certifications is concerned.
Thank you very much. Pataudiaji, will you like to add something?
So I think just to add the word sustainable, cotton basically is a sustainable fiber itself also. Organic is no doubt is organically grown is more sustainable, but cotton itself is a very sustainable fiber. And as you know, it's biodegradable. So cotton itself is a very important, in today's world, sustainable has become the most important word. And cotton is one of the most important sustainable fiber, I think, today. Naturally, other natural fibers are also sustainable.
Thank you, sir. Now I come to the question, which I think IACC and we also want to have it. I will just say one question and all the four panelists please reply. No need to repeat the question again. The first question is, what are three products which USA needs from India? What are the three products which USA needs from India?
Can I tell?
Yeah, please.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, that is the first one is organic baby wear. It is a commonly record. And the men's ladies t-shirt, it is blended with organic cotton. That is a recycled polyester and that. And apart from that, organic home burnishing also is coming up. And we are innovatingly, it's a three category only you told. Now we are developing organic kapok fiber also. It is for stuffing purpose.
Good.
Normally in the US market, today biggest demand is on sustainable fibers, sustainable textile. Whether it is in recycle is in big demand, and all the brands looking for the recycle, whether recycled cotton or recycled polyester or blended with organic cotton. They want to use their own cutting waste to be used again. All the denim manufacturers already they have attained 5 to 10% of blended of recycled fiber in denims. Already it has been attained. Now there are some demands started coming in for farm recycled fibers like banana fiber and all. Now we have started developing for that, and commercially we are all successful for the banana fiber. All home textile, like Mr. Narayanan said, baby wears, home textiles is a big demand for wellness product. Now after the pandemic, people are looking for wellness product like organic textile and natural fibers, hemp, linen, and banana. Banana is a big demand. Thank you.
Yeah, please. Mr. Ramaswamy, please.
Narayan sir.
Sorry, Mr. Balaji, sorry. Yeah, please.
Balaji. So that's why I told you, already baby wear, everything. I told three items already: baby wears and men's and t-shirt blended with organic cotton, and organic home furnishing. This is the three product is very well accepted in the US market.
Balaji, you will like to add something?
The same thing. See, there is a big demand on home textile in US market and baby products. Baby product with more wellness actually. Wellness means with organic, with herbal dyes or with some natural fibers. It's a big demand. Home textile market is developing like anything in US as well as baby products as high demand with natural finish, natural requirements.
Mr. Pataudiaji?
Yes, thank you. Well, I'll be repeating a few of the things what my other friends have said, but basically India is a top supplier of bed linens, whether it's printed, dyed or in 100% cotton, whether it's organic or BCI or any of the standards. And so there is a good demand for the total home textile, whether it's terry towels, sacks, bags, because now people want sustainable sacks or bags also for shopping. So there is a big demand there. And also there is a possibility to increase the exports of quilts and kitchen linen and as well as curtains in cotton based products. So this is also a big possibility of increasing, because now work from home has become the new norm. So a lot of these products can now be exported from India.
Thank you very much. Now I move to the second question. What are the three products which USA demands and we have got limited offers? We cannot offer it. What are the three products, please? I think same. Yeah, please.
See, that is when a demand is always there in the US, is a very big market. You know, the very big demand is always there for all the products of home textile, home furnishing, and wellness product. But it's a real challenge today in organic condition. There is a lot of challenges is there for giving a continuous supply.
Sir, what are our limitations? What are our limitations?
Limitation is on the, you know, we have a cultivation. Now we have a limited cultivation. We have to increase our cultivation based on organic or biodynamic organic. See, demand is high. Demand is on the high for the right product, but you have to gear up for the demand. Now we can figure it out. How many companies are 100% organic? Now Armstrong is the only company I can say, or 2-3 companies we can figure it out. They're only working on 100% organic. So the demand and supply is that there is a gap. We have to look into it in a deeper way, and definitely there is a larger market is right.
Next panelist, please. Mr. Patodia ji.
Actually, nowadays.
Yeah, please.
May I, or Mr. Narayan Swamy, would you like to say first?
Okay. Can I talk?
Yeah, please.
Actually, organic cotton, we are talking about the organic business. Since it is a fourth year organic, it is that is a very difficult to get for our US market. So nowadays, US market is developing IC1, IC2, IC3, IC4. So that is the way even Textile Exchange started OCS standard for IC1. So definitely in future, the organic growth will be for US market will be very high. Because nowadays it is only NOP certification. It is very difficult nowadays. It is limited. Now it is from 12th July onwards, it is decided for OID. If you are giving it to OID only, you can go to NOP certification. These are the restrictions are there. Now in future, definitely another 1 or 3 to 4 years, definitely the organic will be growing in USA.
Yes, Patodia ji.
I think already my friends have already said what are the things required for the US market, which India is not able to fulfill. I think India, since it has got a huge, strong cotton base, so in the cotton sector, I think we will be able to fulfill most of the demand which USA has, or in the other natural fibers which USA requires. I think the area which we need which we are not able to fulfill generally is more on the MMF areas, where this coated fabrics or which is man-made fiber and other coated fabrics. That is an area which we are not very strong in at the moment in India. So I think that is what we need the support from US so that we could do more business in the US. But where sustainable or this thing is concerned, I think we are very well positioned from India to fulfill the demands.
Very well said. Very well said.
Yeah,
so,
I would just like to add a small point over here.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Thing is, if we look at as the raw material source of organic cotton as a basic material for manufacturing of an organic garment or organic fine product, India is holding almost 52% of global supply of organic fiber in the global market. The second distant figure is China with 17%. Now, with and additionally, we are also having the highest number of certified facilities in India itself. In spite of this, and due to the changes from the buyer's side and everything, there is a huge supply-demand gap at the moment. You know, as a result, as Mr. Narayan Swamy had said, and also what Mr. Bala and Mr. Patodia agreed, from our side also we are trying to encourage more and more organic farming. So, you know, that's the result why we have started considering IC2 and IC3 cotton as a under the GOTS certification program. So this will encourage more and more farmers groups to go into organic farming from their conventional way of farming. So I believe each and everyone, the stakeholders of the industry, have their role to play over here. And once everyone thinks of this in a proper way, then I think the share of India supplies as organic fiber on the global platform will increase, and this supply-demand gap can be met at one point of time.
Excellent, excellent. Now, my next question: what true advice each would give up how to reach to the US market or US buyers? True advice only. I think let us start with Patodia ji first. I think.
I didn't get the question. I didn't get the question.
Yeah, please, what are the two advice to reach to the US buyers?
To the
Reach to the US buyer or US market? So
You mean how-
advice? What we should do?
what India should do.
Yeah, what India should do.
No, India has just to give an idea, like the US buyers. One very important point is that we in India we are importing the extra long staple fiber. That is the US Pima and the other US extra long staple cottons from USA, because that is a requirement for the US buyers, that they require the Supima branded or Pima branded total all the products from India. So that is what we are already geared up to do. Second thing, as we already have all these certificates and the systems in place, so India is very well geared up to meet the demand for the US customers. So that is also there. So these are the two things I think India has a good possibility to increase the exports, and while at the same time we are able to import that fiber straight, that is very good. So India doesn't have the extra long staple fiber which it does import from the US.
Perfect. I will tell other friends to edit, please.
Yeah. See, this is innovative products has to be in the line. Innovative products always been appreciable in US market. Wellness product is always having a demand. Keep the certifications all intact. Be transparent, and larger volume players have definitely have an opportunity to serve in US market. Thank you.
So there is a please. Yeah, go ahead.
Produce sustainable textiles for people and planet, and urgent climate action with a great goal of reduced CO2 emission for your product. Definitely US cotton also approaching the same manner. This is their goal.
So now my final question, because I have got the ultimatum, only 4 minutes are left. So final question is out of box only, that does this recycled fabric or fiber or yarn lose its strength ultimately or not? All the 4 panelists, please give their view. That is the final question.
Question is not audible.
Pardon?
Please repeat the question.
Repeat the question.
I say this recycled fabric, yarn or material, does it lose its strength because of recycling?
No, actually for recycled polyester with blended yarn, it is not losing the strength. 1 point. If it is a recycled cotton mixed with the cotton, there is the limitation in the ring spun yarn. You cannot make more than 30% or 20% that way. But if it is the open end yarn, you can go for even higher also. So it all depends upon the requirement of the fabric and which fabric they are going to use it. That's the only thing. It will not affect much. And there are a lot of people are encouraging the recycled product. Even pet bottle recycled polyester with the blended. It is even Reliance is doing very well, and they are doing it very much. That's why it will not affect the quality of that.
See, the application, you have to select the application. According to the application, you have to select the blends. Say now today in ring spun up to 30% recycled content can be possible up to 30 count. Comfortably we can. If you do the coarser count, it will be more good. But it's a topmost 30s. But if you add polyester, you can do much better. So it's all you have to select according to your end use and applications.
Will you like to say anything?
Since technically my two friends have already answered, I can just say from the commercial point that a lot of our members are making this now recycled polyester blends, and also in 100% cotton in home textile, terry towels and other products which are already being exported, and we are very well poised to increase this because of the recycling is going on increasing in India, and I think there's a good possibility and a big possibility to increase the exports from India to USA.
Thank you all. Mr. Satya, any question please to the panelists? Mr. Satya or Mr. Mehta, please.
Sir, it is, I think one question is there, but it is all about manufacturing fabric and garments for athleisure. So I don't know whether it will be connected to the panelists or not.
You can just ask. Perhaps we can take it in the end.
Sure. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for this panel for showing how Indian companies are fully compliant, ecologically responsible, and with its sustainable offerings for the United States. Technical textiles is a special segment and an important one in any textile discussion. Technically engineered, specification-driven textiles uniquely lends itself to US bilateral trade. To explore these dimensions, please welcome Dr. Raina, CEO, Raina Industries, to moderate this panel. But before that, may I please request Mr. Satya, IACC, to introduce the panelists.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta. We understand very well that how far the technical textile session holds important. From yesterday's address from Mr. Udeshi, also we came to know Government of India allocation of 1480 crores for National Textile Mission is itself a big step. So we are looking forward from the panel to hear about. My first introduction to the moderator, welcome Dr. Mohit Raina. And let me briefly introduce him. Dr. Raina is currently the MD of Raina Industries Private Limited. He has a demonstrated experience in working in material building industries. Very recently in 2021, his industry was awarded by the Government of India under the theme Science and Technology for Sustainable Future. He did his MTech from IIT Delhi and PhD from Aachen University, Germany. The next speaker, the panelist, Mr. Mohan Kaveri. Mr. Kaveri has more than 30 years of experience in textile industry. He is currently chairman of Supreme Non-Woven Group, manufacturing non-woven fabric and auto interior components. He is graduate from IIT Bombay and MS from Newark University. Our next esteemed panelist is Mr. Pramod Khosla. Mr. Khosla has 40 years of experience and a first-generation entrepreneur. He is currently CMD of Khosla Profile Private Limited. Khosla Profile uses latest state-of-art technology from European manufacturing and exports air filter to 40 international countries. He has also remained as a past chairman of ITA, Indian Technical Textile Association. Another speaker, our esteemed speaker, Mr. Cherian Thomas. Mr. Thomas is an experienced professional and have worked in large global Indian and multinationals. He is currently CEO of Advanced Textile Division of Welspun India Limited, which manufactures needle punch, spoonless and thermobonding, and also has the largest prominence presence in US market. On academic front, he is mechanical engineering and an MBA. Over to you, Dr. Raina, to moderate the session, and we look forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Good evening, the ladies in the room and also the gentlemen around. It is a privilege and an honor for me today to be moderating a session with some of the stalwarts in the industry, people who have made technical textiles as not only a sunrise industry, but they practice technical textiles in the way that the world looks up to them for their quality and for the kind of products and services they provide. They are setting benchmarks in the way they do their things. And without saying much more myself, I would directly go to the very first panelist here, Mr. Mohan Kaveri. I have been a big fan of his work and the kind of or the way in which he has built up the entire non-woven space, especially with a focus on the automotive sector. Mr. Kaveri, very quickly to you, I would request you to introduce your company in around 60 seconds. Over to you, sir.
Well, in the introduction, much was already said. We do all kinds of non-wovens, and along the way, we started doing the interiors of cars, all vehicles, in fact, where the input is primarily non-wovens. We do every technology of non-wovens. I think that's enough. I think people know about our industry.
Absolutely. So the synonym for non-wovens in India is Mr. Kaveri himself, and you do not need to mention a lot when you have a brand like his. to go with the word non-wovens. I will take this to our next panelist, Mr. Pramod Khosla. Sir, again, the kind of work you do in the domains of filtration, it has become very relevant, especially everything from a mask which you wear to an industrial filter. They all kind of follow similar principles, and they have become all the more relevant in today's day and age with the kind of pandemic we're going through. So maybe you could quickly give a brief about your company as well, and what you do and how you do it in around 60 seconds, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Anna. And also thanks for inviting me to this seminar, and to Mr. Suresh Kotak and Mr. Mehta, and also hello to the other panelists. We've been very popularly known as Khosla filters because we have been so synonymous with the filtration industry and the growth of it in India. So right from 1977, it's been almost 44 years that the filtration industry literally started, and we have been associated with it for since 77 till today. So I can say that it has been a great journey, and I have been able to be a part and parcel of, along with that, the technical textile industry growth in the country. We manufacture all types of filtration, primarily into liquid filtration, and we are extruding our own raw materials, and right from extruding from granules and fiber to the ultimate made-ups, with almost 2/3 of our products being exported to a major partner being US, basically. So I would say that from a humble beginning to we have almost now 1,200 people working with the organization, and we continue to keep our sights for continuous growth now both in the woven and the non-woven sector. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for introduction. I will move on to our third panelist for this evening. Another upcoming, not an upcoming, that's the wrong word. In fact, somebody who's already in the domain of technical textiles, that's Wellspun India, being represented today by Mr. Cherian Thomas. It is a pleasure to meet you. I don't think we have met in person. The two earlier panelists I have met and interacted in person, but today over this virtual platform, I say a quick hello to you, and I would give you this opportunity to quickly introduce the kind of work you're doing at Wellspun India in the domain of technical textiles. Over to you, Mr. Thomas.
Yeah, so Dr. Rana, thank you. Although it was a slip of tongue, but I think it was right. We are upcoming. And when I look at my co-panelists, Mohanji and Pramodji, I think, and they being modest enough not to take 60 seconds, I think I have to shorten my time and say that we are divided by technology. So we do solutions around spunlace, solutions around needle punch, and around thermowinding. And downstream to spunlace, we also make some finished products in terms of wipes for the FMCG brands. And I'm very happy to be in this industry, although I'm not a textile engineer, but it's already has been very, very heartening to learn a lot from the industry indirectly through what Mohanji and Pramodji do. And of course, all my competing industry mates. It's been a fantastic journey. And I also thank IACC for this hosting this forum, and with the vision of keeping this engine running to improve the trade between US and India to the levels that we just mentioned. Thank you, Dr. Anna.
Thank you for that quick introduction. I will now quickly open the floor to some questions. I will start with Mr. Kavri himself. Well, you being in the non-wovens business all this while with the different products, and I take it that you definitely also do export to the Americans, to that land. A very quick question to you. What is that one thing that manufacturing companies in India, or even the bigger ones, the SMEs, what should they do to make sure that they could win over an American buyer, an American client? What should they do? What is one thing which makes them very special for the Americans?
Mohit, you are embarrassing me. I do not export even a rupee worth of material to the US or to any other country. We have to understand that everybody has to find a niche area, his own sweet spot. So we have found our own sweet spot, mostly in the domestic market and in the auto industry. But that doesn't mean that I will not answer your question. You see, there is a lot that can be done as far as the US is concerned. But I have to go back to what Mr. Mayekar and Mr. Rajkumar Agarwal said earlier. We often make the mistake of not understanding what the customer needs. I know of an owner of a company who sacked his marketing manager on the grounds that I am sending you out to sell the products we make. You go to the market and you come back and tell me what to make. So it is essentially we have to make that which the customer wants and not try to push that which we make. So the US market really requires a lot of products from us, but most of these products, other than those which are commodities, where really there is nothing, let me tell you, as far as non-woven, particularly commodities are concerned, it is the machine and your money that is doing everything. But a very large part of technical textiles is very niche, customized, tailor-made products. So you have to be able to cater to that kind of a market. And that is a little difficult from this distance. But I'm going to divert from your question and say something because I like to think tangentially and not in a straight line. Maybe you would ask this question, why US? I have a very simple answer to that. Most of the cooperation with the US will be on a one-to-one basis with relatively small and medium organizations. So what is important is that we understand each other. And what do I mean by understanding each other? You may laugh at what I have to say. When one of us cracks a joke, the other has to be able to understand it and laugh. And that is where, fortunately, with the kind of globalization that has taken place and with the advantage of English that we started, today I think our accents may be a little different, but we definitely speak the same language. And we can definitely communicate and we can laugh together. And that, I believe, is what really businesses are all about. It is not to, belittle all the other things that are required, please. Without all the other things that are required, there would be no business. But this, what I said, is also very, very important. Thank you.
Very inspirational words. I did not mean to embarrass you, but in fact, maybe that's the next market you think of when you're expanding. I hope so. I will quickly move on to Mr. Khosla here as well.
We have 2 factories in Thailand now.
Come again?
We have 2 plants in Thailand now.
Well, America is not very far away.
Yeah, and it's an American customer.
So you do business with them in more than one ways. I will come to Mr. Khosla now. I talked about filtration. What relevance has this really gained during this pandemic, and how do you think even technologies from the US have been assisting the spread of this, or understanding the technologies, implementing them, especially in the domain of filtration in this era, which is not very simple from the pandemic perspective. So the very concrete question, being what is it that you are gaining from American technologies and how are you actually propagating it in the country?
Dr. Rana, I'll give a little bit of a background before I answer your question specifically regarding the Indo-American relationship from the exports and imports point of view. If we talk of in general technical textiles, let me say one thing, that among the textiles, the technical textile possibility of both export and import and cooperation between India and US is perhaps the most promising, because the growth rates, even with the very low base figures, are in double digit in almost all the 12 or 13 sectors, both from export and import point of view. And the export, even in the COVID year, that is 2021, technical textile exports surged from India. Sorry. Coming back to the India's position, see, China took over a lot of European, I would say, products, and they were a big partner to the US. With the changing scenario, I think India has a great chance to be a very important partner to the United States. And what can be exported, what sort of products can be exported, and what sort of a product and technologies you mentioned can be imported from there. The association between India and US can be multifaceted. And when we say about exports, there are three sectors: the geotextiles, the Indotech, and the PacTech. All three of them have a very good growth rates into the US. So these three sectors have a great chance to build further upon them. And in the current 4 or 5 months, some of these sectors have grown in triple digit also, more than 100%. So that is one thing which is noteworthy. Second, there is a very important question which has somehow got sidetracked due to the international scenario, is the lapsing of the GSP and the FTA between India and the United States, which I think is extremely pertinent in terms of advancing the technical textiles into the United States. So that I think the American government needs to relook at, because India is a great base for certain raw materials like polyester and polypropylene based products. And these find great usage if you see in terms of, when I say the geotech and the Indotech and the PacTech, most of these are coming from these raw materials. So if the US government reintroduces the GSP, it will be really a great fillip of giving to the Indian manufacturing industry in technical textiles to increase the share over there. Coming to the question of imports, both of fabric and technology, I think the imports, there are three sectors: the Meditech, the medical textiles, the mobile tech composites, that is carbon-based composites basically, and the Protect, which have been the major sectors where there has been a prominent imports from outside, including from the United States. United States on the technology level, well, there are quite a few things. Europe has always been at the forefront of technology, and of course China has made certain inroads, but America, the land of opportunity, and what I should say, the Silicon Valley, and so much of innovation, R&D happening in the United States. The companies like DuPont and companies, they are who are based on research and development. I think they stand a great chance of doing business with the Indian market. On the technology part, I would say that, or the machinery part, there may be some sectors like the R&D, laboratory instruments and couple of other technologies which could be finding great usage over here. But I think the major would be sectors like ultra high molecular weight polyethylene products, nylon 6/6 membrane based products, which are very exclusive and which are being manufactured in the United States, would have a great penetration into the Indian market. So university to university interaction and association to association interaction between Indian universities and industrial associations would be a great way to go forward on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khosla, for that very elaborate description of what could be done either ways. I will move on to our next panelist this evening, Mr. Cherian Thomas. This question for you. I have always come to understand over the past few years that Welspun as an ideology has started thinking in use cases in the domain of technical textiles. And especially here with a focus on the US market, what would be those typical use cases where you think the entire exports from India could really benefit? What are those use cases which Welspun is looking at these days in the American market?
So, Dr. we've always worked in the, let's say, the hygiene space application, right? And that we continue. And we feel there is more value that US consumers can gain in the same space by way of, because of our dependence, our self-reliance on, let's say, viscose and cotton. So we feel there is still a value chain that consumers in US can go up in the hygiene space. There's also, like Mohanji mentioned, there are always niches to be found, and then we decide whether to work on that niche. So obviously, even in US, there is a niche around, let's say, emergency service provider PPEs, whether it is even medical and or even fire. So there are components around that, although there is the very amendment which doesn't allow us the finished product there, but there are components, smart components that go in, which makes the final ensemble functional. So we find that there are complicated supply chains that are there in US, and we feel that surely there's a lot of money to be saved in US if you can simplify the supply chain ex-India, even if it is for a component, with a lot of components that can be, that can go together as an assembly and still have the last mile value addition and conversion there. But it saves, I think it will save a lot of resource for US. And I heard Pramodji mention composites. So composites also, there are the last mile final conversion of parts that happen, whether it is on the automotive or on the carriage or renewables, where we feel ex-India solutions can be smartly worked out, very efficient supply chain. And we think, again, there is value to be earned for the consumer in US.
Okay, thank you. I've taken down some points which I'll summarize towards the end. I will now very quickly put forth a question to all three panelists, and I would request you to answer to the same. In one particular sentence, only one sentence, please, each one of you. You could take a couple of moments to think about it. The question is very simple. If we are standing at an exhibition where we are pitching ourselves as a country to be offering technical textile solutions, what would be one sentence pitch which we would give to the US buyer? One sentence pitch to the US buyer as an Indian manufacturer for us to sell products to them and for them to buy our products and trust our technology. So I will start with Mr. Kauri. We as a nation, what is that one sentence pitch?
I would go back to what I said a little earlier, that we understand each other.
Okay, we understand each other. I'll take this as a one sentence pitch. Mr. Khosla, one sentence pitch to a US buyer.
I have a very old this thing saying which goes as a selling line, marketing line for our company. The difference is in the fabric. And
acoustically not hear that.
I said one line pitch will be the difference is in the fabric.
The difference is in the fabric.
Yes.
Hey, add that one line pitch, Mr. Thomas.
So I think I'll tell my US friends that if you thought that the Indian IT engineers were smart and they're only so old, think about the intellectual capital that we had around the textile engineers, which is older. So I think we really can understand what the US demand is in terms of specific performance, and India and the Indian partners will be able to convert and give a solution that is smarter than what they're currently using.
Okay, thank you very much, all three panelists. I have been asked to close up the session in the next 3 minutes. Thank you for all your inputs. I will very quickly summarize of all what was said. I will start with some things which Mr. Kavri very prominently said. He said, well, we have to make what our customer wants. We have to understand what our customer wants and make what our customer wants. We have learned to laugh with them, understand their jokes, and we have started understanding their language as well. Our exports and imports, this is something coming from Mr. Khosla. Growth rates have doubled over the years with a permanent focus in exports on geotextiles, Indotech and PackTech, with a very specific focus on anything and everything to do with polyester and polypropylene yarns. For imports and technology, what he also mentioned were the areas of mobile tech, med tech, and pro tech. Carbon-based mobile tech, yes, definitely. And, a great way to carry out tie-ups here would be a university to a university tie-up, an industrial association to another industrial association tie-up. And finally, from Mr. Cherian Thomas, where he mentioned some of the niche industries in the US would be the emergency service industry. He also talked about simplifying supply chains ex-India, and also venturing into the domain of composites. So this was a quick wrap up of the session on technical textiles. It is no longer a sunshine industry in India. It has come to a certain level of maturity. And I believe in the coming years, the world is our market and people will look back to India for some of these top quality, high value and well-engineered products in the technical textile space. On that note, I will give the word back to Mr. Satya or Mr. Mehta as well, who could just take it on from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Raina, Mr. Thomas, Mr. Kavri, and Mr. Khosla. That was incredible. Amongst the many textile segments that India meets the US needs is the next segment, home textiles. Let's explore how we can do even more business together. Please welcome back Mr. D.R. Mehta to moderate this panel. And may I please request Mr. Satya, IACC, to introduce the panelists.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta. And it's a pleasure to again talk about one of the most important segment of textile, home textile, which is a widely accepted product in US. So with this, let's welcome, it is a pleasure to welcome D.R. Mehta once again. I would, I hope so, Mr. Mehta don't mind if I read out once again. So he has a 54 years of experience in textile industry, ex-CMD of NTC, Government of India, and has also remained as the past president of TAI. He is currently in the director of Pioneer Embroideries Limited and Mr. Mehta is joining as a moderator. We have Mr. Updip Singh. Mr. Singh has 34 years of global experience in textile industry. Currently, he is the president and CEO of Satlaj Textile and Industries Limited. Under his able leadership and guidance, Satlaj has launched a very successful and premium brand, Nestera, for a home furnishing segment. He is also known for his calm demeanor attitude and a positive and dynamic approach. Our next panelist is Mr. K.K. Lalpuria. Mr. Lalpuria has 37 years of experience in textile industry. He is a qualified CA. He is currently Executive Director and CEO of Indo-US Industries Limited. He has an entrepreneurial skill and has traveled worldwide. Our next panelist would be Mr. Amit Ruparelia. Mr. Ruparelia has 45 years of experience in textile industry. He is one of the partners at Trendsetters, a company known for highly creative and home furnishing products. He is currently served as and remained as a past president of All India Exporters Council, and currently he is the convener of Regulatory Advisory Committee of FIO, Federation of Indian Export Organization. Over to you, Mr. Mehta.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mehta and Mr. Satya. I am the moderator of this channel, this webinar. I think very eminent speakers are with us, Mr. Lalpuria, Mr. Abdeep Singh, Mr. Amit Ruparelia. And before I start the question answer of this one, I would like to thank Mr. Lalpuria and Mr. Abdeep Singh that they have sponsored this session. So thank you very much. Thank you very much to all. So please, I will not repeat the question. Please, all the three. First, I will start with Mr. Abdeep Singh. Please, for 60 seconds, you have to tell your brief and what you are doing and what are your products. Please, Mr. Abdeep Singh.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta, and thanks to IACC, Shri Kotak ji and Satya for inviting me for this webinar. Satul Textiles is in dyed yarns, value-added yarns, and home furnishing, having a brand in US by the name of American Silk Mills, which is a legacy brand since 1896. And we are manufacturing melange yarns in terms of cotton, all blends, all fibers, whether sustainable fibers, and all in dyed. And in home furnishing, we are supplying world over, and this home furnishing is not bed and bath. It is basically curtains and upholstery. And we do have a recycling of PET bottles. We do about 7 million bottles per day and convert into almost 120 tons of recycled polyester fiber in our plant. This is what the Satul is all about.
Good. Yes, Mr. Lalpuria, please.
Yeah, good evening to all, and thank you, IACC, to invite us to this wonderful seminar to develop bilateral trade between US, which is the largest market. Myself, KK Lalpuria, I am the Executive Director and CEO of Indo-US Industries Limited. We are manufacturer exporter of textiles since last 30 years, and we specialize in bed linen post-quota abolishment. And we are market leaders out of India, as well as we have a good share of market in the US imports, particularly for bed linen. Our objective is to be customer-centric. We specialize, we don't generalize, and we are a debt-free company, so we can provide the necessary competitiveness and end solution to the customer. We are capable, adaptable, reliable as an organization in our customer service, being in made-to-order exports, and we enjoy and have passion in doing what we are today. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Then Mr. Amit Ruparelia, please.
Namaste to everybody. Thank you for inviting me. By the way, it's Ruparelia, Mr. Mehta. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you a brief background about my company. We have been exporting home textiles since over 50 years out of India. And I joined 45 years ago in the family business. We've been doing fashion bedding for more than 35 years to America and Canada. Of course, Europe has been our main forte also. We sell, well, as everybody says, what the customer needs. And we do brand their products at our facilities and ship it to them. As you're aware, US has become one of the major buyers of home textiles right now. We do still see that the potential for the US to export to the US is huge. And at the same time, there is a huge potential to import from the US to India, because the Indians, with the earnings and the income that they have, there is a lot of brand in the youngsters. So there is a good potential for imports also. Thank you.
Thank you. I will go out of the box. First question. What are high fashion home textiles?
Well, high fashion home textiles is something with which there is a lot of embellishments. There is nouveau designs, as you call it. It's packed in with a lot of accessories also that you get, like neck pillows and comforters, etc. So, in short, that becomes a more value-add product and fashionable. What trend is fashionable? You might be having lace sometimes, or sometimes you might be having some other trims or some other kind of sewing on in the bedding.
Thank you. Mr. Singh, please, you add it.
Yeah, I mean, as Amitji said, this fashion bedding is one. Then another fashion home textile could be in terms of which is very highly design oriented. Living room. Living room home textiles, that is curtains or upholstery. So these are also very much design oriented, and these also come under what we call fashion home textiles. And this is what we are in, even in Satluj, and we are one of the largest suppliers as a brand in US as American Silk Mills.
Mr. K. Lalpuria, please. Yeah, please.
Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So if we look at a macro level, you see, when we speak about fashion bedding or fashion oriented textile, India in the earlier stage, in the last decade, has concentrated on commodity, the low hanging fruits like sheet sets and other categories like rugs or towels. And it is time now to move ahead and grab this fashion oriented business. Just to give you the scale, like out of 28 billion in home textile at retail in the US, 14 billion is just bed linen, and the rest 14 billion is towels, rugs, carpets, curtains, upholstery, kitchen towels, and all that. So the segment of bed linen is the highest, and the fashion bedding in particular is 5 billion, which China is dominating around at 75%. Now, India is concentrating today on this segment by building on the design studio, by bringing in the necessary inputs on research and product development side. So India has a very good chance to scale this fashion bedding. Now, fashion bedding is what goes on the bed, like apart from the sheet, like just the flat and the fitted and two pillows. The fashion bedding is comforter, quilts, coverlets, and on the fashion oriented side in curtains, upholstery, and towels, the different made up items which are design oriented, which are made to decorate something in the home. So I think we as a country are well positioned on a micro level, and we should focus on the fashion side of the business, where China is dominating and other parts of the world like Turkey, Portugal, Spain, etc. are focusing. I think there is an opportunity on this side which we all should focus. And India has the necessary traditional labor which has got skill, and it can deliver this product because it has got all the raw material and the supply chain as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Singh. Please, Mr. Rupai, Amit, please. Mr. Amit Ruparia, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the fashion bedding, I just mentioned on the fashion bedding what it consists of, as Mr. Lalpuria and Mr. Updeep Singh also said, that it adds more decoration to your room. rather than having a plain bed sheet or pillow on that. So I've already explained that in my earlier discussion.
Good, good. So my first question starts, what top 3 products each member of the panel feel US companies can resource from India? Please, you can start, sir. What are the 3 products which USA source from India?
As of now, what we can see is it is mainly India is a leader for US market in terms of bed and bath. I hope Mr. Lalpuria agrees with me that in terms of home textile exports to US from India, I mean, India is in towels and bed sheet. I mean, but that is by far the largest, followed by rugs and other things. These are 3 products which, in my opinion, US is a big market as of now from India.
Lalpuria ji?
I think, as I mentioned earlier, bed and bath, we have reached to a scale of, like in towels, we have reached to a scale of 45% market share. In bedding, we have reached to, in particularly bed sheet alone, we have reached 62% of market share as of now. In rugs also, we have a prominent position. The other categories, like as I mentioned, the fashion bedding, the utility bedding, institutional bedding, the high-end upholstery, high-end luxury curtains, then there are carpets, flooring, which even Welspun is doing. All these are items which the US can be supplied with very competitively. It's only a matter of focusing on the front end, being consumer centric. We should go and have a research and insight into the marketplace to develop how we can provide a complete solution to them. And there are other categories also where India has not started in the MMF category, which are also quite large. Just to mention, like I was just looking yesterday at some numbers, like there is a $3 billion market for blankets. Now, blankets, India is at only 200 million. So, the scales are so high to expand in categories where we need to focus upon it. We cannot generalize. We have to provide an end-to-end solution, and particularly in today's market, when there are disruptions every 2 years or 3 years, we have to withstand, the supply chain and ensure the customers that we should be able to service them. Then there are other means of, focusing areas like sustainability, traceability, recycling, where we need to demonstrate, the strength of the company, that we are able to easily adapt and meet the expectation level of both the brands and the retailers, as well as the consumer. So apart from this, the e-commerce also provides a lot of brand expansion to the Indian community, industrial community. And I would say that US is looking at sourcing away from China, because we can work upon this China plus one strategy, which has been building up the sentiments over the last few years, where India is competitive in textile and well positioned with a lot of raw material availability, traditional skill availability, and also the expertise to convert this, because we have got an established spinning segment. We have got an established weaving segment. We have got an established handloom weavers, which can also weave cloths by hand. So the skill sets are there. We need to expand. We need to educate, develop skilled labor, and see that we can meet the expectation of the US by large, in any product which we just imagine: sleeping bags, tents, tarpaulins, outdoor living. Outdoor living is a $25 billion market. We are not there at all. So, when we look at this, each of these products, when India started in this last 3 decades, when Welspun started in 92, and today they are, having a market leadership, a flagship company among home textile. So, once you focus on any particular category, I think we can service the US consumers, the brands and retailers very well. We are quite confident.
Perfect, sir. I will ask Mr. Singh, how you'll relate this with fashion and style sustainable fabrics. Mr. Singh, please.
Yeah. See, I mean, as Lalpuria said, that apart from being in bed and bath and in conventional or a low-hanging fruit in terms of commodity, I think it is high time India gets into this fashion thing or design-oriented, because India has an edge over China in terms of designs. And now with China plus one strategy, I think it is a time for Indian textile industry. If you look at for the US, I mean, whereas India has grown by almost CAGR of 4% between 2015 to 2021 and exports, but as compared to other regions, it has contracted. So US still remains one of the leading market for Indian, even in terms of the fashion textiles, which would mean whatever is design oriented. And I think it is an opportunity for Indian textile, especially home textile industry, to get into this. With also, if you look at Indian textile industry, tailwinds, they are outweighing headwinds. I mean, may it be increase in discretionary spending in US and worldwide, export incentives, I mean, not incentives, I would say the boost which government is giving for exports, and the trade developments, restriction on use of major Chinese cotton variety, focus on having China plus one vendor strategy. These are the things which comes handy for India, but it is time for us to realize this. And this can only be done by collaboration along the value chain. As Mr. Lalpuria said, that we are good in spinning, we may good in weaving. So we have to take the value chain, ahead, so that we can produce something which is more value added with more embellishments and as a fashion textiles for home textiles. That is my take on that.
Thank you. Very good. Mr. Amit, please.
See, I've been, my opinion that Indian exporters or Indian manufacturers should have design studios and hire American designers so they can work very closely with the retailers and or importers, so that the current trend is transmitted directly to the factories here, and they are in touch with reality, that how the color is changing, what designs are changing, what seasons is required. So we should be in touch with them more closely by employing Americans who know their own taste. You see, for an Indian designer, it's very difficult to see the colors and the trends and all that. My take is that this should be one of the way forward by our manufacturers.
Well said, sir. Well said. And my next question is, what are the 3 products each member, each panel should tell us that there is a demand in USA, but we are not unable to supply it? You can start first, sir. Amitji.
Yeah, well, we are, I think so, we have enough capacity right now to supply the US market.
But sustainable quality and...
that's right. So the quality is also sustainable. That's how we got a 62% market share, basically in cotton home textiles. What we are lagging behind is in blended or man-made textiles, which in the world is about 70% and 30% is cotton, whereas India is more cotton-centric. The world is not cotton-centric. So what we need to do is to ensure, and we've got mills coming up, we've got manufacturers in India. We just have to find the right place now to get hold of that market and see that we are China plus one, you know.
Thank you. Mr. Lalpuria, please.
See, as I mentioned, the opportunities are immense. Like if you look at the category HSN wise, there are a lot of insights which you get, in which, you know, as I mentioned earlier, we have been focusing on the low hanging fruit in bed and bath alone. And we have built a formidable position of, say, almost 62% in bed linen and 45% of kitchen linen, towels. So what it means to India, that India is competitive. India has performed. India has delivered in the last 2 decades. India had withstood all the pressures on the supply chain side from time to time. And among all other countries, whatever we say, India has stood and performed in the last decade very well to garner this, position in that market. So I think, as I mentioned, the outdoor living looks quite promising. The tents and tarpaulins looks also promising. Sleeping bags and all those categories which come under HSN 9404 and all this filled product, basically like pillows and memory foam and mattresses and comforters and quilts and all those things are all value addition. Unfortunately, in India, what has happened is there is a higher duty incidence in MMF at the fiber stage. And the government needs to shift this to the downstream product. A lower duty can be established to see that it generates employment as well as this. So I think if we do this, we will be competitive in MMF where we are expensive by almost 20 to 25%. And that's why we have not been able to generate much of product categories for export in this particular area. If you look at even the government today, they have identified for PLI scheme, all these MMF HSN codes for promotion. So we need to focus on each of these categories, like say in apparel to like jackets and trousers. We are not there at all, So I think there is immense opportunity for Indians to scale up. Also on the apparel side, I would say there needs to be integrated approach rather than just putting on a cut and sew operation and managing the business, because a lot more is expected from the supply chain by the US, retailers and the brand. Now today, post-pandemic, you see health, hygiene, wellness is doing well, where we have a great opportunity for technical textiles. So to support, the US into providing them end-to-end solutions. So I think all these categories, if we look upon it, we specialize, we develop them, and we develop a supply chain which can be backed up, by assurance, by quality, by compliances. I think this decade should belong to India, and India could very well, dominate in this China plus one strategy. What we speak about, what is China plus one strategy? It is like China cost competitiveness has gone, haywire. They are very expensive as on date. The only thing they can have a fragmented approach, a quicker approach into delivering, and an assured approach to manufacture something innovative. I think we also should find ways how we can differentiate, how we can value migrate to other products, and how we can, as Amit Bhai said, we can develop in the front end, design studios spend much on research and development to see how we can resonate well with the US consumers and provide them experience and solution, of all kinds of products which we have.
Thank you. Thank you. I think time is very short. I will ask one final question. All my three panelists, eminent panelists, has to reply. What type of premium home linen you will promote so that American and we should give a peaceful sleep and happy life? What type of premium home linen you will promote that American and we should have a happy life and sleep nicely? I think Lalpuria ji, first, you are the king, you are the doyen of industry.
No, there are many doyens. I'm 37 years, Amit Bhai is 45 years this time, so I have to learn from it. But you see, as you
that means
more
comfortable.
Yeah, I would say that what has happened over the period of time in this decade is that the consumers are expecting, functional benefit out of any product, apart from, say, fashion or need-based. They expect something additionally, say, whether it is comfort, or whether it is performance, or whether it is sustainable, or whether it is, any other kind of functional benefit. So in one of these benefit is comfort. Comfort can provide you additional sleep. So you have to design your product in such a way particularly in bed linen, where you take care of the moisture management, wherein, when you sleep, you sweat sometimes and you are restless and you cannot have a sound sleep because the body temperature also drops.
Right.
So, you have to do product development accordingly of moisture management, and you have to see, you design your fabric or engineer your fabric in such a way so that, you can provide a complete softness or luxurious feeling and the necessary comfort so that the person can sleep better. And this has been, researched a lot for, and they have seen that the fabric which you engineer very well can provide you better sleep because it is breathable. So you have to produce breathable fabric as a premium fabric, not only concentrate on the thread count. So because in bed linen you have higher thread count where the density of the fabric increases. So you have to deploy a methodology where you can make a breathable fabric, also a luxurious one, by using better fiber, cotton fiber or better yarns, to see that how you can structure it very well. And with the help of some superficial finishes on the moisture management side, you can provide that necessary comfort so the person can sleep better.
Very well said, sir. Very well said, sir. Mr. Singh, please, short and sweet.
So I would say only two words. In order to serve US market, you forget the sleep, number one. So I'll be very honest. Number two, it has to be backed by innovation and scale.
Good.
These two things are most important in case we have to serve a huge US distant market.
Right.
It is at a distance.
Very good.
One shipment may take about 40 days.
Yeah.
So one has to be innovative and scale up. So this is what I say in single sentence in order to serve US market.
Thank you. Well said, sir. Mr. Amit, please.
Yeah, what I think of the US consumer, which mainly is ladies, yes, of course, they would look into functionality, comfort, sustainability. And another thing is brand. You see, design and all do come in. But if we look after these 3-4 things and you have a good brand value, automatically the US consumer is also very brand conscious. So you can really do a good job there.
Thank you. Mr. Satya, any question, please?
Sir, we will be taking the questions later on. And now I would request Mr. Harit Mehta, our Chairman Textile Forum, to come in.
No, Satya, I will take 1 minute more. I will take 1 minute more. I am really thankful and grateful to Mr. Satya, Mr. Harit Mehta, Mr. Rath, and Rakhi. I never met anyone. But their follow-up, minute to minute. I am very fond of cricket. I follow over to over, but they have followed ball to ball. Really well done. And above all, Mr. Suresh ji, 30 years से उनका एक कोट मेरे को याद आ रहा है. अगर सुरेश जी हैं तो उनको याद आ जाएगा. 30 years पहले उन्होंने बोला था कि textile future is bright as long as child is born naked. So now this is correct. The child is born naked, and definitely the textile future is very bright. Thank you all. Well done, Satya. Well done, Harit Mehta ji. Very well done.
Thank you.
Very well done. This should be kept on the record, sir. This should be kept on the record.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for a wonderful, thoughtful, and an actionable day too. It's now time for the vote of thanks.
Yes.
Panel after panel showed us the tremendous possibilities that both nations have to offer. I am grateful to each. Each spoke with dedication and clarity for specific steps each one of us can undertake to meet the US needs and to show what we can buy from the US and how to reach the $100 billion mark for bilateral trade in textiles. Every effort counts. Every effort wins. Thank you, Mr. Mayekar, Mr. Agarwal, and Mr. Verma for the world of sportswear and sports goods. Thank you, Mr. Kasekar, Mr. Balaji, Mr. Patodia, and Mr. Narayan Swamy for how India and US can do business in organic and recycled textiles and got certification. Thank you, Mr. Kavri, Mr. Thomas, Mr. Khosla, and Dr. Raina for the special end users and the technical textiles that can be sold to the US and our capabilities to meet their needs. Mr. Mehta, Mr. Ruparelia, Mr. Lalpuria, and Mr. Singh, thank you. Thank you for the direct thoughts, actions each one of us must focus to meet the US bed and bath buyers, outdoor living, and design-oriented fabrics. Thank you for your exceptionally important views, as you both have plants in the US and you both have enabled India to be known as a formidable competitor in the world of home textiles. Thank you, my team at IACC, Mr. Kotak, Mr. Bora, for making Day 2 possible. Please sign in at the IACC free textile database so we can help you both sell more and source from the United States. Tomorrow is Day 3, and that's where we will learn what machines and dyes and chemicals we can buy and sell from the US, how we can set up a business in the United States itself so we can classify as made in India, classify as made in the US and a bid for US Defense Department contracts. We have a speaker from the US who sells $500 million worth of used and new machineries from the US worldwide, including India. We start at 6:30 p.m. You can log on with the same links. We are live on YouTube and live on Zoom. Have a question? Please write to us at the Textile Forum at iaccindia.com. Good night, God bless, and have a super day wherever you are. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much
Thank you, Suresh bhai.
for your time and